Hello friends, welcome to EPG Padasala. Myself, Inanala Periyar, Assistant Professor of Criminology and Criminal Justice, Mananiyam Sundaranaar University, Tirunelveli, Tamil Nadu. This module is focused on developing a successful local crime prevention project. Learning objectives are to understand the causes and consequences of local crimes, the strategies for developing a successful project for crime prevention, the preventing measures and guidance for youth empowerment. Effective strategies that prevent local crime involve firstly the acknowledgement of a crime risk and secondly the development of action designed to reduce that risk. To be effective, it requires a through understanding of a local crime problem, where and when it occurs, who is committing it and who is affected by it. Local crime prevention module, underlying factors driving crime and victimization. Crime prevention has become an increasingly important component of many national strategies on public safety and security. The concept of prevention is grounded in the notion that crime and victimization are driven by many causal or underlying factors. These are the result of a wide range of factors and circumstances that influence the lives of individuals and families as they grow up, and of local environments and the situation and opportunity that facilitate victimization and offending. Determining what factors are associated with different types of crime can lead to development of a set of strategies and programs to change those factors and prevent or reduce the incidence of those crimes. These underlying or causal factors are often termed risk factors. They include global changes and trends that affect the social and economic conditions of regions and countries. Factors affecting individual countries and local environments and communities. Those relating to the family and close relationships, and those that affect individuals. At the global level, major population movements, rapid urbanization, environmental disasters, economic recessions, and changes in patterns of trade and communication or in patterns of organized crime can all have serious consequences for regions and countries. Such events can influence the state of a region or a country's political economy, and the infrastructure and capacity to govern may also be affected. International organized crime often capitalized on weak government structure and institutions, and increased trafficking in drugs, guns, or people can greatly exacerbate levels of crime and violence. The impact of such global patterns are also affected by regional or national policies and can exacerbate or ameliorate them. Marginal policies, for example, may affect the extent of trafficking in persons and the number of victims and perpetrators of that crime. At the national level, the extent of the disparity in household income between the poorest and the wealthiest population of the country, level of corruption, the guilty of infrastructure and institution, and social cultural patterns can all create situations that increase the risk of crime and victimization. The Gini coefficient measures income equality within a country, providing a useful tool for comparing levels of disparity between countries. At the local level, inadequate infrastructure and fiscal and administrative powers, poor housing and neighborhood conditions, lack of facilities such as good education and health services, high unemployment and easy access to drugs or small arms can all increase risk. Within cities, there are often more discrepancies and inequalities between different geographical sectors, poor or disorganized schools can result in poor achievement, dropping out of schools, bullying behavior, and exclusion from schools, all are which have been identified as risk factors for offending and victimization among children and young people. At the individual level, the risk factors for offending and victimization include biological and personal factors that may lead to early aggressive behavior or serious substance abuses. For example, risk factors connected with relationship include family characteristics such as harsh or erratic parenting, family conflict, and violent and abuses. Family circumstances such as poverty and isolation, and relationships with friends and peer groups that can lead to risk taking and law breaking. There is always a tendency, nevertheless, to overemphasize the role of individual factors in prevention programs by focusing on the disruptive or offending behavior of individuals, young men or young gangs. For example, this leads to a neglect of wider social and economic factors which may seem more difficult to address. A well-planned prevention strategy will work to address both individual and social and economic issues. The concept of risk highlights the negative factors that can underlie crimes. A more positive approach involves examining the equality known as resilience and the capacity of cities, communities, and individuals for avoiding crime and victimization in spite of their circumstances. So-called protective factors help to build or strengthen the resilience of communities and individuals to risk. They include factors such as well-governed cities with low level of inequality and effective and fair relationship, effective and transparent criminal justice system, adequate funding for social, environmental, and economic programs, and citizens' participation. For local communities, the availability of appropriate education and employment, strong community links and relationships, including those associated with cultural and faith-based groups, or respected elders, and good recreation, transport, and other facilities are important. For children and youth, caring and consistent parenting, good role models, and staying in schools are all important. Thus, improvements in neighborhood services and facilities, increasing the social capital of an area and providing opportunities for education and training can all help to protect neighborhoods or individuals and develop their resilience of crime and victimization. Type of crime prevention. Various approaches to preventing crime have been developed over approximately the past two decades on the basis of considerable amount of research and evaluation. The major field of crime prevention include a range of responses developed over many years, including developmental, environmental, situational, social, and community-based crime prevention. And interventions may be classified into a number of groups. One system refers to social intervention mechanism. Individual treatment mechanisms, situational mechanisms, and policing and criminal justice mechanisms. For example, the various prevention approaches and programs are grouped into 4 main categories in the guidelines for the prevention of crime. First one is crime prevention through social development, includes a range of social, educational, health, and training programs, such as those that target at-risk children or families when the children are very young, to provide them with support and child rearing skills. Some elderly intervention programs are also referred to as developmental crime prevention, since they try to intervene to develop resilience and social skills among children and their families. Programs may also target groups of children in areas where children and young people are at particular risk, such as street children or children living in the informal settlements or disadvantaged areas. Other examples include education projects in schools or recreation and skills training projects for children and young people in the community. Also, in an attempt to increase awareness and resilience as they grow up, and develop. The guidelines for the prevention of crime, prevention of programs of this type promote the well-being of people and encourage pro-social behavior through social, economic, health and educational measures with a particular emphasis on children and youth, and focus on the risk and protective factors associated with crime and victimization. Second one, community or locally based crime prevention instead of targeting individuals targets areas where the risk of becoming involved in crime or being victimized are high. This includes areas with the high level of deprivation both in terms of infrastructure, services and wealth, or lack of community cohesion. This can include slums and informal settlements or inner city or suburban housing projects, often areas with a concentration of economic and social problems. Such programs work in increase the sense of safety and security of the residents of particular communities. To respond to community concerns and crime problems affecting the population and to increase the services and social capital or social cohesion in the community. Social capital generally refers to the network of social relationships, trust and shared values, community involvement, or a sense of civic identity that exists in the neighborhood. Community crime prevention often involves the active participation of local residents and organizations in those communities and neighborhoods. They may be involved in identifying local priorities as well as implementing responses. The term community can refer to small neighborhoods, areas within a city or small villages or town, or in some cases groups of citizens with particular concerns. The guidelines for the prevention of crime, such programs aim to change the conditions in neighborhoods that influence offending, victimization and the insecurity that results from crime by building on the initiatives, expertise and commitment of community members. Third one is situational crime prevention covers approaches that aim to reduce the opportunities for people to commit crimes, to increase the risk and costs of being caught and minimize the benefits. According to perhaps 6C of the guidelines for the prevention of crime, such approaches help prevent the occurrence of crime by reducing opportunities, increasing risk of being apprehended and minimizing benefits, including through environmental design and by providing assistance and information to potential and actual victims. 5 specific categories of situational prevention strategies has been identified: those that increase the effort of offenders, those that increase the risk for offenders, those that reduce the rewards for offenders, those that reduce the provocation of offend, those that remove the excuses for offending. Situational techniques are designed to be direct at highly specific forms of crime and assumes that would-be offenders make rational decisions about the potential risk and rewards of breaking the law. They involve the management, design or manipulation of the immediate environment in a systematic and permanent way. Fourth one is reintegration programs. Crime prevention through reintegration refers to all programs that work with children, young people or adults already involved in criminal justice system, including those in custody or returning to the community. Those convicted of the offenders run the greatest risk of re-offending given that they have already broken the law, have few opportunities and skills to pursue legitimate non-criminal lifestyles, and may have strong links with other offenders and offending lifestyles, providing them with life and job skills, training, education, alternative lifestyles, and role models, and good support and housing in the community are all ways to assist with their reintegration. Programs in prison may help to prepare them for release by providing them with the new work skills. For example, increasing their education levels and social skills, including their ability to mediate conflicts situations, and through the use of other restorative approaches, campaigning crime prevention approaches. No one approach or underlying theory of intervention is inherently better than the others. All of them have advantages and disadvantages. Some social development approaches can be long-term and require commitment and investment continuing over a number of years. Community or locality-based approaches can require considerable patience with the difficulties of engaging citizens in positive ways or maintaining the momentum of projects. They are more difficult to evaluate, so clear and rapid results from interventions may be hard to identify. Overall, these four broad categories are all aspects of the overall practices of crime prevention and provide a menu of approaches from which to select when developing an overall strategy. They offer a range of short and long-term responses to crime problems. All of them offer valuable options and have different advantages and disadvantages. Different approaches to crime prevention. Timing of crime prevention strategies. Specific terms are sometimes used to refer to the stages at which crime prevention programs can be applied. Regardless of the approach used, the public health inspired typology using the terms primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention to reflect the stages of entry into the criminal justice system. It is still commonly used but does not fully reflect the range of issues involved in preventing crime and developing safe communities. Primary prevention refers to programs or initiatives aimed at those who have never been involved in the criminal justice system, such as programs to educate or alert the general public or young people about domestic violence or bullying in schools. Secondary prevention refers to programs specifically targeted to children and young people who are identified by the social services, educational, or justice system as being at risk of involvement in crime. Tertiary prevention refers to programs for those who are in the criminal justice system and are returning to the community, with the aim of preventing re-offending, crime prevention, and community safety. One of the most common assumptions about crime prevention is that it can be clearly separated from other areas of activity and that is restricted to academia or solely the province of the police and justice system. In fact, as observers have often pointed out, many interventions that help to prevent crime are called something else, whether easily childhood intervention, educational and employment support, drug treatment, or urban renewal. Crime prevention is not the only term commonly in use internationally. In different contexts and countries, other terms such as safety and security, crime reduction, and community safety are often used. The term community safety is commonly used to refer to the broader range of issues that must be tackled to promote safer cities or communities, and with outcomes that bring benefits beyond an absence of sustainable crime prevention. Crime prevention can also be linked to the notions of sustainable development and sustainable livelihoods, in the sense that it should meet the needs of the present without compromising those of future generations. This is especially relevant in middle and low income countries. Efforts should be aimed in increasing the capacity and resource of populations, providing opportunities for the next generation and helping to increase international capital. Sustaining crime prevention strategies beyond the life of government is an important part of this process. Figure 3 shows crime prevention strategies that can contribute to sustainable development. Collective approaches to crime prevention and the important role of governments. Chapter 2 of the Guidelines for the Prevention of Crime, entitled Conceptual Frame of Reference. Conceptual frame of reference. It is the responsibility of all levels of government to create, maintain and promote a context within which relevant governmental institutions and all segments of civil society, including the corporate sector, can better play their part in preventing crime. Over the past few decades, there has been a major shift from the traditional view that crime prevention is the responsibility of the police to the view that it is a collective responsibility. Since the 1980s, it has been argued that it is more effective and cost efficient and beneficial to take the collective and proactive approaches to preventing crime. The importance of collective action is recognized in both the guidelines for cooperation and technical assistance in the field of urban crime prevention and the guidelines for the prevention of crime. The basic principles underlying the guidelines for the prevention of crime. The guidelines for the prevention of crime set out 8 basic principles underlying the development of crime prevention strategies in Chapter 3 as follows: government leadership, socio-economic development and inclusion, corporation partnership or sustainability or accountability, knowledge-based human rights or rule of law, culture of lawlessness, interdependency or differentiations. The following is a sample of other virtual communities who in at least some circumstances appear to be at heightened risk: those recently victimized, students, residents over shops, those living in or near some types of hotel, those about move home, new tenants, holiday caravans while unoccupied, holiday houses while unoccupied, known offenders, houses in multiple occupations, the mentally disordered or vulnerable. Local areas may not reflect national patterns. BC focused on elderly people living in small sheltered accommodation developments. They were found to be at high risk, notwithstanding the nationally lower than average burglary risk faced by older people. The suggestion from this area was that the crucial factor was the grouping of vulnerable victims. The conclusion of this module is the module focus on the aspects of the process of developing strategies, prevention plans and initiatives rather than on the kinds of programs that can be implemented. Some examples have been included to illustrate the ways in which different countries have approaches a problem, but many other examples exist. After 20 or more years of pilot projects and experimentations, there are numerous examples of effective policies and practices that can provide information and lessons. The topics covered by the programs and projects vary widely and include prevention of youth violence. The topics covered by the programs and projects vary widely and include prevention of youth violence, reintegration of children and adults into communities, prevention of violence against women and promotion of women's safety in public spaces and in the home, prevention of residential and commercial burglary and theft, the designs of safe housing and public spaces, and the prevention of trafficking in persons. High, middle and low income countries have widely differing histories circumstances and capacities, it is essential that the strategic crime prevention plan responds. Thank you friends for watching EPG Padasala.